To your point about federal legislation, is the president willing to compromise with lawmakers who think there should be some restrictions on reproductive rights in order to get a bill through, or is his approach more all or nothing at this point?
I think what the president has said, and he will continue to say, that he believes that Roe was rightly decided and that we need a bill that restores the protections that were in Roe. And, you know, by the way, the vast majority of American people agree that Roe was rightly decided, and that's exactly what we need to do.
Thanks. You mentioned the 21 states that have a ban at the moment. Do you have any number or any estimate of how many women have been forced to travel out of states since the since the decision?
I don't have numbers on that. I will say one thing, which is that the Department of Justice filed a statement of interest in 2 cases in Alabama where the right to travel is at issue, where the Alabama Attorney General has threatened to prosecute women and those who help those women cross state lines, but that's not a number for sure.
Thank you. You've been talking about abortions and medical emergencies. On the Fifth Circuit's decision on that, it's unusual to see a court agree to review agency guidance, let alone rule on whether it can be implemented. How does that court's decision affect your strategy going forward as you try and navigate this post-Roe landscape?
Yeah, as you probably know, in addition to, making clear our longstanding position that that law and the guidance that followed it reflects the position that EMTALA does cover emergencies when somebody walks into an emergency room needing medical care, and abortion is the care that is required, that is covered by EMTALA. Of course, that we are also, the Department of Justice is also litigating that, defending that in court, and that stands before the Supreme Court at the moment in a different case.
And on traveling, are you doing anything to support providers in states that are seeing an increase in patients from neighboring states with more restrictive laws, for example, Illinois?
I think the best answer to that question is that we've been really working with those state leaders in states like Illinois, New York, where they're seeing an influx of patients, but really that's more about connecting states to each other, which has been one of the things we've done in our state convenings so that they can learn from each other and help each other. There's less of a federal role there.
Okay. Last question. One more thing? Thank you. Does today's announcement that the administration is going to publish training materials for providers in medical emergencies, does that mean you're going to advise that same information to hospitals in Texas and Idaho, which I know are the states involved in those cases that the Justice Department is in?
That information will be available to any hospital and healthcare provider who needs to access it.
Thank you.
All right, last question in the back. Go ahead, Evan.
I just wanted to ask about medication abortion and the Supreme Court weighing restrictions on the mailing of mifepristone. Do you see, or rather, does the Biden administration see this as sort of the next big frontier of this abortion fight? And then, what are the stakes of that case? And is there any recourse that the White House would have?
I do think that that's a really important frontier. They've already made it clear that in some sense they don't think they need to pass a national abortion ban because there is a national abortion ban if they were to be able to limit the mailing, the dispensing of mifepristone. So, I can't speak to the litigation, but of course, again, there's a case in the Supreme Court, Alliance Defending Freedom versus FDA, where exactly what's at stake is whether limits can be put on the FDA, who has made a judgment initially a judgment to approve, and then further judgments to regulate using their scientific, evidence-based judgment that this is a safe medication that should be available. It's, by the way, 53 or so % of abortions in this country. So we will continue to defend that and make clear that that is a safe and legal drug. One of the reasons I think that case has attracted a lot of attention is because it is obviously squarely about medication abortion, but, you have pharmaceutical companies and executives, you have medical associations, you even have conservative legal scholars weighing in on the danger of that case because it could have implications for any drug that the FDA, long ago approved and has regulated several times since.
All right, thank you so much, Jen.
Thank
We have to
you.
go to the Oval Office. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, thanks, Jen. A couple things before we continue. So just a scheduling update. So on Thursday, January 25th, the president will travel to Superior, Wisconsin to discuss how his Bidenomics and Investing in America agenda are rebuilding our infrastructure, lowering costs, spurring a small business boom, and creating good-paying jobs. President Biden remains focused on investing in America and opposing congressional Republican efforts to shower massive giveaways on the wealthy and big corporations, cut Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, and block us from lowering costs for American families. And before we continue with the briefing, I wanted to say one last thing to my dear friend Emily, our deputy press secretary, as she is going to head out to maternity leave today. And Emily, we are so happy for you and Stephen on your road to parenthood. And I think you are such an amazing human. You're going to be an amazing mom, and just have so much joy. I know everyone here feels that, and everyone certainly on our team. And I'm going to miss you terribly. You're going to be gone for like 5 months. 5 months too long, but I'm going to miss you terribly. And I hope you